So we're probably out of seed. Because when they're out of seed, they start following me around the yard. All the birds. Oh, look, hold on. Oh my goodness. This is my favorite garden. If I had to step back, it would be this garden. It may not look much to you, but let me tell you something. This is the place I go if you want to just unwind, relax, de-stress, or whatever, and even the work in. So it's not just sitting here and enjoying my bird garden. It's even working in the bird garden. And boy, do I have a lot of work. Hi, it is Robbie from Southern California, and we're in September. Can you believe it's September? But we still have 3 weeks of summer here in the United States. So we're going to be hot, and we're usually very hot in the fall. That's when we get dry and the fire season comes. And so we have to be aware of all that. But just because we're going out of summer doesn't mean much for us as far as heat, because we're supposed to be in the hundreds this week. So we'll see how that goes. Look at this. Oh boy, the work that's still going in there. Oh, they all took off. We have had 100 spice finches here, not counting the dozens now that we have of pintail whitest, including full-colored birds. Along with all the other birds, we have over 60 small species of birds that come and visit. So let's just pan around for a minute. Let me tell you what's been going on here. We do have a lot going on. I have left the trough. I know a lot of you said, oh, you're going to get rid of the trough. I am going to get rid of the trough, but not yet. The problem is, and it's not a problem, see this? This is the perfect food for the spice finches and the pintails. The spice finches have been coming here and hanging on it and eating. So I'm going to leave that. As you can see, a lot of it's already gone because they love the seed just before it turns completely brown. And they're waiting. See, they haven't touched this yet. So once it's all gone, and I know no more is going to grow because it really is seasonal. You can try to grow this all spring, and here it's just not the right temperature for it. But when it gets to this time of the year is when it just bursts into seeds. And then I can try to grow it later on in the fall and the winter, and it'll just get about that big. It'll look like this, but it just won't take off. So I'm going to leave this because this is a big food source for them. And then here I am in the middle of cleaning it up as Gary's hiking through and doing dragon fruit almost every night. What? Over 100 in one night? In fact, he just picked our first one that was red, which is fabulous. And I see some peeking through back there that's red. I will have to trim back, and it really bothers me so much to trim back dragon fruit plant, but I have to trim it back. It's growing in all different directions, but I told Gary, don't trim anything, and I'll trim it when I'm ready, because this is all going to change. And I'm hoping over fall, that's when I'm going to get this done. I almost was going to make a water feature out of this, but what am I going to gain by making a small pond in a trough? That's the thing. Will I gain anything? Maybe more dragonflies? I'd rather set this up for food and places where the birds can hide. Like I hung all that yesterday. I've been trimming back a lot of my brassicas. Oh, let me step over here. And the ones that have died back, this makes just perfect perches for them. So it's very simple. Zip tie it on. If it falls apart later, gets composted, but in the meantime, it's just a great cover. Haven't been able to get up on a ladder to do that, but I might leave it because I'm going to probably hang more feeders. The lemon verbena that I bought that were tiny little plants, half price, are beautiful. There's 2 of them in there. There's one growing back there in a pot. Of course, the roots left. And look how big it is. And they love it. They hang out in there, all the birds. And then there's another one there. And then, of course, my brassicas. And then there's a fig leaf gourd growing over there. So see this, I don't know if you can see them, but this plant, this lemon verbena, brings in all the spice finches and the small birds. It's just the perfect plant for them to land in and hide in from predators that may be flying by. So let's see what's going on here. I'm still moving stuff around here, and then here, I thought I was going to get to it before I started the video. I did not, but I've got mint. I brought another upside down planter from the driveway here, and that will be it for here. And then what I'll probably do with these is plant lettuce in there. I've got mint growing in there. I'm setting that one up for my fuchsia, and Gary had a mushroom plant in his back room That was mine, and it's leggy. So I'm going to trim that back, redo that, and it will bush out pretty good here because it's got shade. This is that cutting I did of the Hummingbirds lunch. I love this. I want to get more types of cupia here because the hummingbirds love it, and I can sit and just watch them feed on it. And then I've got turmeric growing through there. I've got different geraniums kind of spotted through and different salvias in here. I plan on doing a whole lot more flowers. Can you believe this? Look at the flowers on this. I mean, if you look, the whole top is full. To think that this grew from seed that I did not plant last year. It came up and bursted in the flower, and it just keeps going and going. Kind of layered it. I put this pot here, which had a poppy that's dying back. But I watered this, which waters the pot that's back there, that's got the blanket flower in it. And so we can also feed it. So I can put a pot on top. You saw how I stuff leaves in and different things, and then I water it, and it feeds the plant. We don't use any plant food. Maybe I should, but I don't use any plant food. This I've been trimming to bring the canopy up. I don't want it covering on the ground. I've got different geraniums in there. That's in a pot and it's wandering. I've got more seeds growing down here. This is all cuttings. This is all off of this plant. And I've got cuttings growing everywhere. I've got some columbine in there, but it hasn't flowered here. And then again, more, this too, I think more of the Hummingbirds lunch, more different salvias there, salvias there. So I do want to get this more organized, but I'm going to take my time on that. Because I can sit here and decide, like, look at all the cuttings I'm doing. This is one from what Gary brought home, the Mexican bush sage. This is another cutting, and they grow so fast. Look, just a piece put in there, and then I label it now. I try to make sure I keep, look at the Hummingbirds lunch, keep from cottages, sour containers, whatever I've got, cut it up, and then I've got a label. I don't need to label it, but I want to get in the habit of labeling. There's another cutting. There's more emu bush cuttings. I've got all kinds of cuttings going, and I hope to have this table going, and I'm going to make another one on the side of the house. So on the other side. So this way, if I, like my neighbor wants, I'll be able to just hand it to her. Here, take it, go. See, look at this. They've been eating this when we're not here because it's so close to where I walk by, but they'll go down there and eat that too. I may end up digging that up because you can move grasses very easily, which I have done, put it in a flower pot and move it somewhere else back here. And you may see it looks beautiful. To me, it looks like a mess because what's happening now is the crisscross wood that I put up there, all the limbs that Gary had cut off over a year ago, and I kind of wired them up. It's not from being wired and zip tied. That's all holding good, but it's dipping just from age. And then I've got, oh, the dragon fruit. Look at this. The weight. And that plant is very heavy. So I did trim a little bit off, but see, everything's coming down. I just hope it doesn't crash. But you know what? I look at it this way. If it crashes, then it gives me something to come out here, do, and completely reconstruct. It's not going to hurt anything. It's just, I might have to redo some of the feeders. But I don't know if it's going to crash yet. I'm hoping it will go until winter. And then once the fig tree back there is barren, I can look at it and decide how I want to do it. I'm almost thinking of putting rebar across. Maybe hoop some rebar around because that's worked out really better than I thought. That I could just strap things on. I can show you what I did. Came back here. Ooh, scrub jay. See, just zip ties. And then sometimes I come back with wire. So I'm going to kind of decide on that what I want to do. Let's keep walking. So what else do I have here? Oh, this is chia seed. And if all goes well, it will turn into a beautiful purple flower. I think there's more back there. Is that chia? No, this one's not chia. This is red roselle. And then again, look at all the flowers. Oh, look, look, look. Well, I should turn this so I can enjoy this. I know it's facing the sun. Look. Got that early on from CPG and it's going to reflower. Oh, these are the hibiscus I got. And the flowers folded up. And I've got two of them. See, the flowers are coming off. Now, this is going to be repotted because it's still, I got this from Home Depot. Really like this. So I'm debating right now where to put it. What I should do is, I need to take that fountain apart and scrub it and clean it and redo everything. I think the cord is broke on that. I think a squirrel or something chewed it. And then decide if I want to put a hibiscus here. But problem is, if I put a hibiscus here, it's too shaded in the back, is it will block my view for the fountain back there, the bowl, and I really want to see it. So I'm trying to keep everything low and pushed. I've got a hummingbird lunch back there, so I'm not sure where I'm going to put this. I definitely want it in this yard, maybe in the front. But then I've got a papaya I'm catering to too, that's growing in that pot, but it's got an open bottom. Mandeville's growing all over. I'm gonna really figure it out, maybe down here. I just love looking at it, so I'm trying to figure out where I want to put it. Now this is red roselle, and this is going to burst into flowers. I planted this from seed a couple months ago, and I started planting them around, and this one did really good. The other ones I didn't plant yet. Look at all the cuttings. This is all hummingbird lunch. Anytime a piece breaks off, I walk by and it breaks off, I stick it in a pot and I end up with this. So isn't that gorgeous? It's the easiest plant to propagate. And there's so many plants we can propagate. Now I'm going to tell you, as we walk through here, there is a big mess because I did hire somebody, not to do a big major job, but there's something I want. And Gary's way too busy. And I said, you know what, let's get somebody in here. We needed some stucco work done anyways. Gary does stucco because he actually stuccoed, I think, this whole wall here. When we got this house, it was all wood. It was all open. So he stuccoed this, but if I wait, I'll be waiting in my, well, we won't talk about that. I will be waiting when I'm long gone. So I decided to get this guy that I know that's really good. And what I'm going to do, see, it needs stucco. We're going to do little by little. We can't afford to do the whole thing yet because that all has to be taken down and that redone. But we did want the wall back there done. Now, there is hot and cold water back there. And then I can clean this up and use this for my storage. And I'm going to have him connect the sink in there, I don't have one here, to a black pipe. And the reason I want to do that is the laundry sink, is I can bring the pipe out. I step over hoses, so I'm going to be fine with this. Look, I'm stepping over their wood. And the pipe will come out here. It's a sump pipe, I think I went and bought from Harbor Freight the other day. They're on sale for like almost $16. They're so cheap, 20-something feet. And then I can bring the pipe and just lay it where I want. So if I want to plant, let's say, a tree colored out here, I'll just leave the pipe there. And I'll take my pots and stuff in the house, especially in the winter when I don't want to come out when it's freezing, wash what I want, and I'll know where I'm directing the water. I think it's going to work fantastic. Sometimes I lay the hose. You can't even see. Look at this. This is the Mexican sage I was talking about, Mexican bush sage. It was a little tiny plant back there. But like back here, I don't even think we can get back here. Look how big this plant is. The leaves on this are like elephant ears. I sometimes lay the hose there. See, it's in the ground. See where it is? Oh, there's my other tomato. Something dragged off the tomato to eat there. That's okay. I lay the hose there. It makes this plant huge. Again, remember, we don't use plant food. And then there's the honeysuckle, Japanese honeysuckle that's starting to take off. And I just want this on the back. I'll have to keep it hopefully well trained. Let me back out. So I can bring the hose here and just leave it. I'm not going to be running tons of water, but some water. But this way it's called gray water. And why throw that out or we're not on the sewers. So it still goes to the trees, but I want to be able to direct some water where I want it to go. So it should work out really good. And I'll be able to maybe attach 2 hoses if I need. And even if I threw it over the wall, I can water my citrus trees that are back there. I don't know. I come up with ideas. Is it going to work? I don't know if I think it will. I'm really excited about that. So what else is here? I'll keep going. There's my fountain. This I never got planted yet. You saw this last month. It was half price. This is the sweet pea bush, I think it's called. Yep, sweet pea shrub for butterflies. So I'm going to get that planted and clear this area up. You look at it and say, oh, you haven't done anything. Let me tell you something. I know what I've done. I had to take like a month off or longer and not do heavy stuff. And then I've been coming out here and tearing things apart. Look, I had to cut dragon fruit. And you would say, why don't you grow it? Because Gary's got pots of it growing in his yard that he doesn't want, that's already rooted. See? I cut this all up. See, I love this, my tree colored. And I want to get the whole back with tree colored. I am going to stick some dragon fruit back there too. And then see how I just for fun stuck some cuttings in those pots that have no bottoms. This way I know where the water's going. Well, now I can bring that pipe here and say, oh, I want to clean that pot, let's just say. So I bring that pot in and I wash it in my big laundry sink. But in the meantime, all the water from the pot isn't going to wherever, it's coming here. And I can drag that pipe anywhere I want, and I know it's going to get water. And the citrus trees, they'll really like it because all I have to do is drag the hose. It's a small hose. Put it over the side there, and look at the citrus. It will just water all that. So I don't have to stand here with a hose and water it. I can just put the pipe anywhere I want and say, I'm going to go wash something. I think it's going to work out good. So that's what's going on here. I cleared all this. And when I cleared it, see how big the trunks are? That's what I've been hanging up on the other side in the bird garden. And then the other pieces I don't want, I'm chopping up. And I'm not sure yet. This is going on the other side. This dog crate will be going way down there. So I'm not sure if I'm going to put a real chair garden in here or just some chairs that I painted with some totes on top and grow different things. I probably will do it that way. Then it's portable. I can change things around. This I cleared out. And so when I put all kinds of leaves and stuff in here, it will seep into the ground. And what is this feeding? My papaya last year that I wasn't sure if it was going to make it through winter. And it's making it. Look, it's loaded with papayas up there. I need a little more cleaning done on here, but that's okay. And I've been putting the leaves in here. I'm filling another pot up in here with the leaves. So when I water it, it goes down because I don't know if I can move this. See, their roots are there. So I know all the leaves I'm putting in this flower pot, just a plain old pot from the nursery, filling that up. There's a piece of geranium that's in there. It's feeding this thing because the roots are gone. They broke that tote to pieces to grow, and I think that's great. So it did make it. It's going to make it through this winter. I don't know. But my idea is, let's look at this mess, is I just dragged this off. I'm going to plant this geranium in here. I'm going to wind the geranium around the base of the papaya, and that will keep the papaya protected from the cold in the winter. It depends on how cold we get. It might work because I did it early on and it seemed to really help the plant. And so I'll see how that goes. So that's my plant here. So this is going, that is going, the bucket's going, this will be moved. And then geraniums in here. It will look nice. I don't have to cater to it. I don't have to do anything. And their root system doesn't really mess with anything, geraniums. And this I planted, it was a little tiny cutting in a green bucket. So this is going here. This was actually in the rainbow garden and it just took over all over. I just dragged it here. I had it in there, but I'm cleaning that up. I might actually remove some of the soil in here I made and then refill it up with leaf matter and maybe some twigs and stuff. So that's what's going on in here. Then here I work on the table and cut some things up. I've got my irrigation tubing there. I've got some potting mix if I need it for small plants in there. I think I've bought potting mix once this year and I haven't needed a whole lot. So that's what's going on in here. So hopefully they'll get, it's not a big project. I think they're going to be done next week. So they're stuccoing that and we're waiting on this. I know it looks terrible. The people that own this house, long story short, and I've done a whole thing on this house that we bought many, many years ago. There was a divorce going on. You've probably heard of this. So to downgrade this house, what he did, I was living over there when he did it. He took most of the stucco off, so it was down to bare wood. And this way he downgraded the house. So when they came to evaluate what it was worth, he didn't have to give her as much. I actually saw a house like that 40 years ago. I walked in, the light switches were laying all over. It was a real mess. I'll talk in the shade. And I asked the realtor when she brought me through, what's going on? She said, they're going through a divorce and he's devaluing the house because he wanted to buy it. And that's what happened here. The guy ended up keeping the house and then his new wife didn't like it. They moved away. And long story short, you heard the story. This house was sitting, part of it, the property, on my property. So we got it for a really good deal. So anyways, that's the long story, but we still haven't finished it. It is livable, but I mean, it needs some cosmetic work. So we kind of don't have the funds to do this yet because they would have to take all this off and redo it. And we're debating if we'll redo this room differently. So we're going to just do the corner with the laundry room, just the sink right now and all that, and run it out here so I can water my plants. I know you have no idea what I'm saying, but I do. Look, look at the Malabar spinach going up. Had that last year. And this moringa is doing real good. Same thing. I could drag the hose right out there and leave it here and water my moringa. So I'm really excited. I got 2 of those hoses that were on sale. That's why Gary took me to Harbor Freight, because it was 1 per person. They gave us an extra one at the good price. And he said, you need to come along because there's only 1 per person this weekend. And I can attach 2 and move the hose anywhere I want. Here I've just been watering really good. And so I've got chocolate mint all over. I've got turmeric, and that's not even planted in there. You saw that. Okay, so that's what's going on. Let's go out here. So now we're out in the rainbow garden. There's my chairs I'm going to bring into the bird garden that I painted. I think I made 6, but I'm not sure if I'm going to use them all or sit on them. They've got their stucco stuff there, so I can't touch a lot of their stuff because they're coming back. So they took off for the weekend. So here I'm growing a lot of milkweed. I'm growing, look at this, tomatillos are growing in there. More tomatillos are coming up here. I've got a little pepper plant back there, walking onions. This is more milkweed. Oh, look, a little pepper plant. I'll have to trim some of that off. And then there's, again, milkweed, walking onions. So I haven't done anything. It's been a different year this year. But all in all, the way we plant is we plant a lot of stuff that's going to grow all the time. Like it's more of a perennial than anything else. And it works for us. It works for me. So it worked out really good this year since it was a slower year to get things done. Hopefully next year we'll just burst into all this energy and get more done. But it's worked, and that's what I like. I've got the hummingbirds lunch here. I was going to pull it out. Now that I know the hummingbirds come and feed on that, I'm leaving that. Then I've got walking onions there, walking onions through here. And I've got to get some of these to my neighbor. She wants, oh my gosh. I washed that off. You know, there is ways to get rid of insects, but I don't know if I'm going to do a video on that. I don't know, because I'd have people screaming, and it's without using any pesticides or anything. It's even without hurting them. But some people don't want you to touch anything. And a lot of you, especially come next garden season, when you start planting in the spring, I may give you some hints on different things we can do. And I understand that some of you do use neem oil and all that. And when you use neem oil, it also takes out our good insects. But the point is, you have to eat. And that's the thing that some people don't understand. A lot of times you need to feed your family and grow the food, and you have to do what you have to do. And I absolutely understand it. We grow here because of our space. There's an oriole up there. We grow more than what we need. So if the animals take, it doesn't bother us. But sometimes there's a special plant that you don't want the critters to chew. And then at that point, we do have to do things. So if you need to get rid of certain insects, maybe I'll do the video on that. I've never seen a video like this, and I don't know how it would go over, and that's why I hum and haw on it. Maybe I'll do it for members. Thank you to all my members that hang in there. Anyways, the pizza garden is doing fantastic. I've got thyme growing great up here. My basil is doing really good. Rosemary, I've got oregano, I've got sage. What else can you ask for? Except for Gary's waiting for me to make pizza. Because with the heat and the different weather, I tend to make pizza more in the winter. I need you know what you do? You clip a whole bunch of this. You wash the leaves up. I've done this and it works. You wash all the leaves up, take what you want, clean it up, and put them in a baggie, and then you freeze it. Then when I go to make my pizza, which is really unique and it's not really done the way I do it, I can take one baggie out, and I know I've got rosemary in there all ready to use and cook. I'll have thyme in there, basil, everything in there frozen, and you just go for it, and it works. And I better do that while everything looks good. Even if I just pack up 10 bags, that will be good. The buckets need good trimming. We are going to take the fig tree out. It was a big debate for me. But here's the thing. I don't get these figs. The birds eat all the figs. It's creating too much shade, so I can't really grow too much there. So I told Gary, go ahead, take it out. So it's been decided that we're slowly bringing it down. And plus, it could break our cement and stuff. It's a type of, well, fig is like a ficus, and they can do a lot of damage. Look how big it's gotten. I think it was a little seedling just, 2 years ago. So that's going to go, and then I'll redo this, and I might put some more water features in here. Yes, more turmeric. Different geraniums. This is when I picked a little piece once. Grow beautiful purple flowers, more in the spring and early summer. And then here, see, it's just too shaded. Now the peppers are trying to grow back here because this fig tree, as you remember, if you look at it, was just shading this whole area. Milkweed didn't mind, it grew, but it got a little more sun because it was on the end. So I think taking the tree out will be good. I'm so excited with my potato mint. I have to keep it covered or the squirrels will eat it. Look how beautiful this is. And this year I will have to harvest it because I didn't, and I lost a lot of the tubers, but it grew back beautiful. Malabar spinach, it's on the ground as well as in here, and it's going up and up. Then I'll clean up my strawberries in the spring, not sure when, and then let's see what's over here. Oh, this has turned out to be, for me, oh, look, there's a bee up there, a disaster. Can you see the bee? I'll show you the bee for a minute. So I'm going to have to go back to the drawing board on how I'm going to do this and what I'm going to do. I do get cucumbers off of this, but the problem is, see all the tips are eaten? I don't know if you saw it while we were here, but an oriole came. They're eating the tips of my plants. It tastes good. So I've got house finches eating the tips of the plants. I've got the orioles. I've got different things inside. This is too low, so they can't get it. So they've left this one. So I've got a cucumber there. And then I covered this with just, I just had this here. I don't even know where this came from. It's not bird netting. It came off of something we bought a while back. Gary threw he bought a gourd or something, and it came in this netting. So I covered that. So I've got 2 cucumbers there. I should use tulle. It was whatever was laying here. I think it was going in the trash, so I put it up there. So I'm going to have to rethink on how I want to do this. Maybe in the spring, if I just bombard this place with a whole bunch of cucumber plants, that if they chew on some, they can't chew everything. We'll see. I've actually toyed with the idea of getting a full-size greenhouse. But again, that costs money, so we'll see later on. Then I've got some zucchini here. The watermelon never grew. That's a watermelon plant back there. Zucchini too, and this has been chewed up by goldfinches. They're eating the greens since there's not as many seeds for them. And then I planted Malabar spinach just in flower pots. Look at that. And that's going to cover this whole thing. You know why? Nothing eats Malabar spinach. I do. I use quite a bit of it now. I actually put this in my green drink. I'm not real big on eating it, but putting it in a green drink because of nutrition in it, I go ahead and do this. I'd go ahead and use it that way, I should say. Then I've got another one back there. I did plant the Malabar spinach, and then another bucket sitting on my car, which you can see here. So that's growing up this way. And then we moved the car. See, they've got their stuff here. So they came and worked a little bit and kind of set up more than anything to get things done. So that's what's, so then they can come back afterwards next week, and they got their mortar mix and fix up that wall that really needed it. Anyways, going back to that, I'm still working on these 3 totes, and then I'll get the totes on the inside, and that's all I'm going to do. The totes here on the outside, on the hoop house, or whatever you want to call this, the tunnel, and then the totes will be on the inside. So it's kind of little by little. I could do this over winter. I could do it now, whatever time I've got. Now these, I don't need this here. These are potatoes. So I've got potatoes coming up in here. It's not supposed to cover them. This just was tossed here out of the way. More potatoes in there. They're all planted. So every bucket here has got potatoes. That one will need harvesting soon. And if this works out the way I hope it's going to work out, I might do a double layer. There'll be plenty of room. I can stagger them. And then in between the potato buckets, what do I always say? Plants love it. Look at that. I've got more of the tropical milkweed growing there because the buckets weep out when I water them. This, I don't even have to plant the zinnias. They come up everywhere. Is that not beautiful? In fact, I've got more seeds. I let them go to seed on the plant. Sometimes I cut them off and stick it somewhere, and then I collect the seeds and I throw them. But these I didn't throw because I had some growing up here, so they fell. So that worked out really good. But this is potatoes. You don't harvest them at this point because you won't have your potential in there. As soon as they die back, I have nothing dying back because I harvested everything. Okay, as soon as they die back is when you want to harvest it. Get the potatoes out you want to eat, throw the potatoes back that you want to grow, cover it up and forget about it. Look, the same bag that's been here for what, 4 months? Still half full. Same exact bag. But I'm using that sometimes for potting stuff or just putting it on the surface. This is the milkweed that came up as zinnias. More zinnias coming up. Just the seeds are all over. This again is tomatillo, and we'll be getting a lot of tomatillos all over. I've actually been moving some of them. They come up in areas I don't want them because they seed themselves, either by birds picking at it and dropping their poop there and it grows, or I move it, or I throw sometimes a tomatillo somewhere and it grows, and that works out really, really well. So I've been moving them. So I moved one there, two in there, and one in there. I should move some in here. I threw a pepper that I had forgotten about in here. I might throw some tomatillos there because they freeze fantastic. You wait until they're ripe, you pick them, clean them or don't clean them, and throw them in the freezer in a Ziploc bag. I'm just starting this. You want to take a peek at my dog kennel? I'm still debating how I'm going to do this. You haven't seen this because I haven't worked on this. So here, we're going to go inside. Look at that. These racks, they had them on sale again. I think it was last week for $44. It's kind of $39. So I went ahead and bought it. So I can put the black containers here. I can use a small tote. I can use anything. Containers from like this one, this size is from Dollar Tree. They come in white, different colors sometimes. So I think this is going to be perfect. I can stand in here. It is a little over 6 feet. I love it. Now, what I'm planning on doing in here is lettuce. I'm starting to analyze. I may not be getting as much sun as I want. Going to leave the top until it falls apart, and then I'll put something else on the top. And this was set up, I don't know, 8-9 months ago, longer, and it's going strong. But I'm going to plant for now lettuce in here, and then I'm going to tool the outside. I'm thinking a black tool because I don't want any butterflies, any cabbage moths in here. But I had a screen door. When they were fixing around the door, they fixed the door up, and I didn't need this one, and they were going to throw it in their dumpster. And I said, wait a minute. There's no holes or anything. So I'm probably going to attach the screen door here, and that will keep out like cabbage moths and stuff. So let's go out of here. This could be an answer to some of my problems. And if it is, I'm going to get another one of these dog kennels, because I've been looking at a greenhouse and it's going to cost me $900. And we're just too hot here for a greenhouse. So I need something more wired. Oh, look what else. So when the guys came with the dumpster to clean up the side of the house there where they're stuccoing, Gary climbed inside their dumpster. He comes to me and he goes, they've got a bathtub in there. I said, well, do you want it? I don't know. So he went out with the guys yesterday and looked at it, and it was like, yes, I want it. So they dragged it out here, and it's not that bad. It's not as heavy as some of the really heavy ones. It's more of a type of metal, but it can be, see, I can even lift it. So he was really happy with it. He's going to set this up in his garden. So he looks at it this way. He got a free dumpster, even though we got to pay the guys. All right, let's walk over here because, like I said, I haven't done a lot back here, really. And more is going on. Look at this came off. We had these curtains, and we never opened and closed them. So we're debating if I'm going to keep this for anything or just toss this. But that came out of the room where they're putting the sink in for me. Okay, turmeric, going really good. I had too many places where the turmerics were being eaten by animals, so I moved it here, and now it's making a comeback. And then I've got more turmeric here. I got to move around the chairs. Hold on. What happens is they work here, and then they take a lunch break, and they're all set up here, and they're eating among the plants. I love it. And then here's my other turmeric table, doing great. Doing good. I'm so excited. I have more turmeric than I know what to do with, and I love it. I can freeze it or just let it keep growing, and that's what I've been doing. And then the chair garden. I have not worked down here. That's not saying nothing is growing. It is growing, but I've got squash started. Oh, look. Got a zucchini there, and I've been picking. I picked a cucumber yesterday because I'm making cucumber drinks. I've got another little curly cucumber there, and then I'll have this one soon. There's been cucumber down deep in there, so I've got cucumber going. You know, that's really yellow. So that turmeric is either too packed or too sunny. Notice in the shade how beautiful and green they are. And this might be getting, it's still early, but when the sun goes past the pepper tree, it might be too sunny for that. I've got tomatoes that are really taking off. And then I've got walking onions here. I've got red vein sorrel. I still want to clean this up. Again, like I said, I move things. I just put a tomatillo here. Keep that well watered. I'll probably put a tomatillo in here. I'm finding them everywhere. But look at this. I'm going to have tomatoes all fall. So this plant has taken off. I don't know if I'm going to get a zucchini. I don't know. Look at that. Something took a nip off of that. I better get that zucchini. We'll take a peek at it. So I figured I'll have 1 tomato in there and 1 zucchini. If the zucchini plant doesn't do good, I'll have tomatoes for the fall. Same thing all the way around. Tomatoes. Oh, look at the bees. Let's not get stung on camera. This is exactly where I like to see bees. On my plants and not on the hummingbird feeders. Maybe because they've got enough. They, knock on wood, they haven't been bothering the feeders yet. And then I got to switch them to the Walmart ones with the little slits where half the hummingbirds don't mind and the other half get angry and they zip around and they're screaming. They're all different because every bird has a different size beak. I mean, it's like people. So some of them don't like the plastic with the slits, the tiny slits, and that's why I open them. But that's a nice thing. Look at all the tomatoes. I have more. I keep picking. Yeah, I just keep coming out here and harvesting and harvesting. I've got my irrigation tubing all set up perfect, and then I've got the old flag sitting there to create a little bit of shade. So as the sun moves, the plants get a little bit of shade. Here, oh no, that's a chomp on the end. Oh, that's not a good sight. See that? Oh, this is a cocoselle, which is gone. Oh no. You know what usually does a chomp like that? A deer. And we have seen deer. My neighbor saw deer. The guys that were working here on the house the other day told me they saw a deer out here in the street. So it might have come by, took a chomp off the end, because you can see how it was chomped. If it would have been a rat, it would have been chewed. They put holes. If it was a squirrel, they do the same thing. They chew it. This is a bite. Okay, so the deer must have come through here. They usually eat up my apple trees. But sometimes when you look at them on camera, all they're doing is foraging. They walk through and take a bite, and they love the trees. The jacarandas, that's what they come for. So they walked by and took a bite. I could use the other half, just wash it, cut it off. Let's see what's going on here. Now, this is supposed to be a crimson, but the problem is it's ready to be picked. There is the tendril. And look how small it is. It weighs a ton. I can barely lift it. It's so heavy. I've got another one down here. I don't know if this will make it. I usually leave them an extra week. So I'm waiting till maybe next week to take it off. And I've got it sitting on something so it won't get eaten or rotted. But that should have been much bigger. But it doesn't matter. I've taken little tiny sugar babies off that were way too small, and they were so good. So you eat it. It's like, oh, I wish I had more. But it's done. So we'll see what happens with that. Am I going to grow any more watermelon? Probably not. These are, oh, this is fig leaf gourd. I don't like it. I don't pick them. And then more seed heads growing in here. This is the watermelon. I keep looking to see if there's any more, because what I've been doing is trimming the tendrils, not tendrils, trimming the excess off. That's what I did on this one. This one is coming out of that bucket. And this one is coming out of this bucket, and I have not been able to find the fruit on that yet. So am I going to end up with a fruit? I don't know. I keep hoping, but we're going to start cooling down in the next month, so it probably wouldn't even produce anymore. But that's it. I've got the geraniums back there. This has worked out to give it a little bit of shade and protection, I guess. And I do love this. I just set this up whenever I need it quickly, and it lasts. Look at that. It's lasted all summer, all spring and the summer. And then what else is there? I put a camera out here. Oh yes. To find out that the raccoons have been coming through and tearing up the garden. So that's what it was. I saw them the other day. So the raccoons are tearing this up again. Not much I can do. Oh, we were going to look at the squash. Isn't this pretty? Considering I didn't really plant too much and didn't put any real effort in, which I should have, I think this spring, I should say during the winter, anything that dies back, I'm going to really tear into it, load it up. Look at all the bees. That's garlic chives, by the way. That's flowering that they're foraging on. And then this way, it would just come out and throw some seeds. I've been doing a lot of seed growing this year, too. In this strawberry, I want to, look at that. I want to get that moved. So where's the squash? Something took a little tiny nip, but that looks dry, so that's from a while ago. You know, I think I'm going to take this off and use that tonight. I don't know how much longer this plant will grow, but the tomato now will take off. I love this. The irrigation tubing, you can do so much with it. Works out so good. And that's really, there's not much else that's new. I didn't get to the wall this year. I still have peppers growing there. See, even without getting to it, I've got walking onions there. I've got tomatoes growing in the back, just old tomatoes that came up, all walking onions there. The peppers, the garlic chives, geranium on the ground, more garlic chives down there, more walking onions, more, oh geez. It's perennial plants, which is nice. So if you've got an area or you're just too tired and thinking, oh, I don't want to keep changing things out, plant more perennial plants. This came up on its own from seed. I'll cater to that for a while. That's a moringa. See, I've got the moringa up there. It's flowering all through there. So somehow a seed got from there into this old tote that's sitting there and it's growing. I might put totes here. I'm still thinking. I had buckets here and it could go either way. I could mix or match. But if I put totes in there, it's kind of like forget about it for quite a few years and grow something. So we'll see. Even in here, I didn't do anything, and yet I've got Malabar spinach growing and celery that reseeded itself and walking onions everywhere. Once you plant walking onions, you have all you want. And I've got to go around and collect all the babies. Because if I don't, they're going to die. It's loaded with babies. It's all about time. See this? You can't really store them. Some people do, but boy, if you're in a dry area, they don't store. So I'll just carry that with me. You know what? I'll come back and get it later. I'll put it there. I'm not sure if I'm moving these out. So that's, oh my goodness, I didn't even know a zinnia came up in here. Look at that, it popped through. I told you, the seeds just show up everywhere. I love it. And then the Malabar spinach is going up. A lot of this is being cleared. So this will be going. This will be moved. And we're going to open this up the driveway so we can just drive through. And it's too much work here, especially when I wasn't doing all this for a while and Gary was watering and he was going back and forth and he said, this is ridiculous. So we'll see how much I decide to move. I've got my black cobras. This plant's like 5 years old. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? And then they drop and they grow more. And they're in a pot, same pot they've been in. And just leaves fall in there and feed the plant. Malabar spinach, green sorrel, red vein sorrel, Malabar spinach. This is all not planted this year because I was supposed to move it. Celery, garlic chives. This is carrots, and I do pick carrots out of here. It's gone to seed, so I should throw the seed somewhere. Malabar spinach. It's all carrots there. Again, I'm moving a lot of this. Okay. My friend, are you the guard for my plants? Okay, and then we've got purslane growing here. And then we've got oregano up on top there. This has been growing for years, came off the deck like that. And then onion, look at the onion on the top. So an onion got in there and grew there, celery. So a lot of this, I'm not sure what I'm gonna do. I'm probably gonna leave this part to about there. And then the rest I will clear till I get to the back. And that's the plan. And that's it. Look at the tree. Years ago, I was supposed to take it out and they left it. Oh, let me show you this. I have not uncovered this. This is purple cabbage. Is it going to go to head? I don't know. Sometimes I reach in and I take a leaf off for my green drinks just to get that beautiful rich purpleness in our body. Here's another one. But it's just been so hot that I think it's only going to throw leaves until the weather cools. And I've got some new plants I can plant at any time. So I'm going to do it that way. And that's it. So I might clear all that out. I don't need that. I might stop at the tree because that tree, see the holes? The holes are not to the bottom. That tree with that big trunk is growing in here. And I throw leaves as I clean in there so that it feeds the avocado because the avocados have shallow roots actually, even though they need a lot of water and they can send a tap root down when they're in the ground. That tree is doing fantastic. It's so straight and beautiful. I thought I'll just leave it for as long as I can. Who knows? Maybe I'll pull it all out one day and plant it. So that's it. We can take a peek in the front yard and then we'll wrap this up. I'm sure it looks the same. You know, I tell you that, and then I go back and look at the footage, and it doesn't look the same. Look how beautiful this is. That will be my green drink today. Is this not beautiful and green? I've been trimming that back. The more you trim, the better it is. So I've got it, like I trimmed this all the way back. And see how it send out new shoots? That's what you want. Red vein sorrel, walking onions. This was chamomile, but it's done. So hopefully it will reseed and in the spring it will come up. And then back here I've got some geraniums for looks. And then the table I will redo with you in the spring because that is just beautiful. I have grown brassicas, as you can see on there. This is all those dish pans that they went from $2 something to almost $5. They're worth it. I've never had one break, but I've had radishes, carrots, purslane, celery, all kinds of brassicas I'm growing, still growing in there. Beets growing, and then I've got in there, see, hold on, bok choy. And what else do I have in there? Who knows? There's a potato. Probably came out of composting. There's a potato in there. I have grown potatoes in this one, and then I changed it. But yes, this has reseeded itself, and there's a couple of them coming up. So that works out really well. This is just a brassica growing. Look at all the seeds. So when I get to it, I get to it. It's kind of like I foraged through here. It's just an area. I used to grow a lot of zucchini in here, but the trees have gotten so big that they really shade this out until late in the afternoon. Then it gets a little bit of sun, and then that's it. So things change, you know, your microclimates change in your own yard if you've got trees and large bushes around. So keep that in mind. You might say, why could I grow before and not now? I'm working on my houseplants. I'm propagating in here. That was a leaf out of that, and it grew a little plant, and then I'm changing my pots around. They really need it. But, you know, think about it. If you used to grow something, let's say 4 years ago, and you go 5 years ago, why won't it grow? Well, your climate may have changed. The area you had, your microclimate changed. Those trees, I can remember when I could stand and I was taller than those trees. And look how big they are. So everything has changed. But sure, we could take them down, these pine trees, but there's so much life in them. We've had woodpeckers in here. We've had all kinds of birds. Everything nests in there. Goldfinches, mockingbirds, house finches, everything. Look at the birds. Oh, they're probably waiting for me to put more seed out. Look at them, they're following me. You know, orioles. So it's really brings so much life into the yard that I'm leaving it. And then that's it. We've made a full circle. This is my geraniums. No, those are my geraniums. This is my ginger and my turmeric. We grow the orange turmeric, but this is the black or the blue turmeric, and they have the center leaf having that color. So I know which ones they are right away. It had a flower there. I don't think it's, see, there's the flower. Flower's all gone now. I don't think there's seeds in there. Something I should check, shouldn't I? Do they develop a seed? I've never looked. I don't think so. I wouldn't grow from seed anyways. I rarely eat that anyways. I eat the orange all the time. And then the tomato came up in the ground. This is the only plant food I give the plants. Ooh, gonna have to dump it. If you leave it too long, you end up with mosquitoes. And don't worry about it, just dump it because it's protein for your plants. I can add more water to that, and then I can water them all and then just dump it on the ground. Goodbye mosquito larvae. So I've been checking it, so there might be some in there now, and today I will dump that. But that's the only thing that feeds all this, and I don't have to put out any money, and it's basically Mother Nature's plant food. So that's the way we do it. That's it. And then this is the gate that Gary put in. A little bit more security for the dogs. I've got a little bit of turmeric there. There's the bird garden. Like I said, we made a full circle. And there's Gary's garden. I don't know where he is. The birds are all hanging around. I probably have to do hummingbird feeders again. They're migrating already. And I've only seen 1 or 2 orioles, males, but there's a ton of babies. So that's what's going on now. And then the hummingbirds are coming in by the hundreds and thousands. It's unreal. I get up in the morning, I fill it all, which has been filled the night before when it was dark. And then I come out here and then I go back and they're empty again. That big thing that's growing in the middle here, that's a tobacco plant. It's a wild weed. You don't eat it. It's toxic for people. But the point is, it's got a little yellow flower, and the birds, the hummingbirds love it. So we leave 1 or 2 here and there. Actually, there's probably more than 1 or 2. Then this whole hillside you're looking down is the elephant food. That's jade plant. Gary's taking out the jade plant. But the elephant food is edible, drought tolerant, and all these he planted. So when we got this property many years ago, the first thing he did was start breaking off pieces, and he just stuck it all over, and you have an entire hillside of elephant food. Do you think that's all we've got? And he's planting it here. Look at, I had parsley and celery go to seed. I got to clear all that, but that's not trash. All that's going to be composted. So as soon as I get in there and start working on those totes, I'll just collect all that, throw it in there. But look at this. This is all elephant food. And this is edible. It's not my cup of tea. And once in a while, I might add it to the green drink. But the idea that if in case of an emergency, you could eat this and it's got all kinds of vitamins. And some countries do use it for animal feed, but not here. So that's it. So that's Gary's garden. There's an old avocado tree down there. And it looks like his chayote squash has covered it. That's all his chayote squash in the back. Really should go down there one day soon. Then what's covering his framework there right now, he may have some ubes coming up. I think he did say there was some of them growing, but he's got a banana. His bananas are back there. He's trying to move the bananas away from the wall, but there's still some against the wall. But what's growing along the top is all his passion fruit. He loves his passion fruit. I'm not real big on that either. And then I don't know what he's got down there. And there's this, you can't see it, but his trough is way back there. He's probably going to take mine. That's what I've been debating on. I could use the bathtub. No. Because I was thinking it's so tall, fill it with water. They're going to get fish in there. I got to maintain that. I'd rather cater more to the birds. I've been trying to figure out if I put a trough in there with water and fish, would it bring more birds? And I don't think so, because I can build a water feature that will bring more birds than that. Look at, they're all looking. You can see the birds on the top there. Oh, come on, bring us more seed. It's probably what it is. Let's look, and then we'll go ahead and end this in here. This is just my pride and joy. Look at that. I just have to clean this up. It's almost there. It's actually organized. I know what's there. I've got more seeds growing in there. This is more, I know that's canary seed. And this is spray millet. And then this is just my mint. Look at the dove. And so I know what's in here. It's just clearing it out and deciding how I want to set it up. I want to paint that. I think that's a trash find, and then put a plant in there. That's the pot with the chair on top. I'm probably going to put a bird feeder on there. But that's what's going on. So we're probably out of seed. Because when they're out of seed, they start following me around the yard. All the birds. There's a little bit of seed in there. No, there's still seed. They're just curious what I'm doing. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this. We have made a full circle. Oh, look, hold on. Oh my goodness. You get to see him here. Look at him. That is the pintail white. Oh my gosh. In full color. Look at that. He's standing he's up in there. We're just feet from me. I hope they stay here. I hope this is clear that you can see it. Look at the tail that poor guy's got to carry around with him. They flaunt that tail to get a female. And the female, hold on, picks them by their tail. They got a nice, big, beautiful tail. Then there's not an issue. She'll go ahead and let him breed with her. And then on top of that, let me go back. They don't even, the females, build a nest or lay eggs in a nest of theirs. They lay eggs in somebody else's nest, and you probably can't see them, but we've got tons of spice finches. They find the spice finch and put their eggs in there. Thank goodness they're not the type of birds like some of your other birds where the babies hatch and kill the other babies. They don't do that. They all get raised together. The only downfall on the pintail is the spice finch babies, they wean, which means they learn to eat fairly quick when they leave the nest. But the pintail, and I don't know if you can see the pintail there, the baby pintails, they have to be fed about 2-3 weeks longer. So they come here and they're screaming and screaming to be fed, when the baby spice finches are already on their own. I see figs already eaten by the birds too, and that's gonna bring in a lot of different birds here. So you and I got a treat to end this video, and I think that's a perfect ending. I can't believe he's sitting there waiting. He has to go into an open bowl because of his tail. So the ones that are covered, he'd get his tail tangled. So we've got a lot of open bowls, and I put another feeder back there. So he can land in there, feed there, and feed on the seed heads, the one with the long tail, the male. And then he can leave, but he can't get into the closed ones with the wire on top. Is that not cool? I can't believe this. This is like, it's like a godsend to be able to end this with a bird that is so rare and so beautiful and not native here, but they're introduced and they're living here happily. And believe you me, they are living here happily. and they get the best seed. They get a parakeet mix that is made for your pet food, not the wild bird seed. They get finch mix we go and buy, which is made for your pets. And the same thing on the sunflower, food grade, not bird seed grade. So it works out really well. And because of that, we have thousands of birds that hang out here. And that's why that trough has not been moved, because that trough has got food for the pintail whitus and the spice finches. So it has worked out really, really well. He's in there somewhere. I can't see him. He went down. He could be right in front of us. And he's just waiting for me probably to move. See, let me see if I can move birds. They know me. And when you see, I don't know if you can see them. They're moving around. Those are spice finches inside. And they're the ones that raise the pintail whitus. Now that male is supposed to lose his tail because they lose their coloring when it's off breeding season. That kind of throws us why he is still in full color, that one that's been here. And there might be more than one, of course. They're supposed to drop the tail, go through a molt, and then start regrowing the tail for the new breeding season. That would be February, March. But he's in full array, full dress. So I don't know, but it's just beautiful to see. Yes, guys, I'm leaving. They're all over. There's about 30 spice finches in the trees. So with that, have a wonderful day. And don't forget to eat what you grow. And if you got the birds, feed the birds, because we're going to be very busy this winter keeping all these birds full and happy. And put some fountains out, because even in the rain, they still want a nice, clean bath. Bye-bye. Oh, what a treat. That's a baby pintail. You don't have a tail yet, but you're only going to get a tail like that if you're a boy. Cool.